Welcome back to Epic English Tutorials once again, and I'm back with another video to help my teacher friends who have their pedagogy exam in November. I have a few question answers of the last year's October pedagogy exam. These questions have actually come in the last year's October pedagogy exam, and I have the answers with them as well. So without any further delay, let's see what I have in store for you. But before that, just a humble request, please subscribe to my channel because I'm also new on YouTube and I need my subscriber growth. So without any further delay, please hit the subscribe button, subscribe to my channel, like the video as well, and let's get into the video now. Before I proceed to all the question answers, I have a clarification to make. There is a viewer who marked on my video that I should clarify the answers before correction because she said this answer is the correct answer. So this is a clarification for her. She has a very minute observation. I must appreciate that. And I'm very grateful to you that you pointed it out. But let me clarify to you as well that even I thought this was the right answer because I know you have also gone through the pedagogy guide, and in the pedagogy guide this answer has been declared as the right answer. I know even I thought this is the right answer, but see, this is a check script and here this has been marked as the right answer. And then I did a little bit of research on that and I found out that the stability of why stability of individual differences in cognitive traits is greater, because individual differences in cognitive traits are not measurable. It's an abstract concept and there is a great influx of cognitive traits and you cannot see, you cannot measure it, they are not spottable. That's why emotional differences can be spotted and sorted. So that's why this option is correct. So I hope the clarification is done, and I hope that particular viewer, I don't know her name, so just this is particularly for you. Even I thought this would be the right answer, but I have a proof here. I don't upload any video without research. For your information, I do a lot of groundwork, I do a lot of homework before uploading my video. But I'm grateful for your minute observation. Even I thought like that, but you see, here is a proof in front of you, so I hope it's clear to you. Thank you so much for commenting, and here is your clarification. Okay, so our first question for today is, which of the following behavior is considered an example of bullying? Those who are preparing for exam, we got a lot of questions about bullying. So you do a lot of research about bullying, what causes bullying, what are different behaviors of a bully, how to prevent bullying, because we got a lot of questions on bullying. So here is one of them. So let's see the question once again. Which of the following behaviors is considered an example of bullying? If you see option number one, a student hits his classmate after a fight between them, which leads to his classmate being admitted to the hospital. Okay, this is option number one. Let's see what's our second option. A student spreads bad rumors about a group of students. And number three, out of jealousy, a student has repeatedly sent mean messages to a classmate who is academically outperforming him. Now, these options are very close, but as I told you in my previous videos, there are always two distractors. So, if you look at the example number one, a student hits his classmate after a fight between them. So, there is a fight between them. So, that means both are fighting. So there is no case of bullying as such because both are involved in fighting. Bullying occurs when one is intimidated by the other, when one student intimidates the other and another is not dominant. The second party is not dominant. Only one party has the dominating character. But here if you see, try to highlight the important factor in a question. It's a fight between them, which leads to his classmate being admitted in the hospital. That means both were involved in the fight. So we cross out this option because we got a hint from here. Let's see our second option. A student spreads bad rumors about a group of students. That means he is bold enough to spread rumors, right? A student is spreading rumors. A bully is a strong character. A bully is a bossy character, and he doesn't care about hiding things and spreading things secretly. So this is also not a case of bullying. You can cross out this distractor and you can clearly see in option number three, out of jealousy, a student has repeatedly sent mean messages to a classmate who is academically outperforming him. So here you can see that he is trying to intimidate, okay? And there is a strategy that he's developed, that he's sending mean messages. So this is your correct answer, and you can remove these two distractors which are totally wrong. Let's move on to our next question, which says, which one of the statements below is the best description of what we call learning style? Option 1, the way in which learner prefers to learn, the way the learner prefers to arrange his knowledge, or the most efficient way of a learner to arrange his knowledge. Okay, all these options are really very close, okay, but learning style doesn't have anything to do with arranging his knowledge, with sequencing his knowledge. So look at the important words to remove the distractors from your answers. So you can remove it because learning style has nothing to do with sequencing or arranging your knowledge. Look at this option, the most efficient way of for a learner. A learner doesn't need, for a learning style, he doesn't need to single out the efficient way and to arrange his knowledge. All these two words clearly tell you that this is a wrong option. The way in which a learner prefers to learn. Your learning style is always the one in which you prefer to learn, because you see, in anything, any choice you make, for example, if you're a woman, if you're a lady, you want to buy a makeup product, so you would always prefer to buy lipstick colors which you like, right? You will not think while doing that, arranging it in a sequence. You will think, you will prefer to buy the color that you like. So this is the key word which tells you a way in which a learner prefers to learn. And if you look at these options here, arrange, the word arranging knowledge tells you this is wrong. There is the efficient and arranging knowledge. These two words tell you that these options are wrong and this is the right option. So I hope it's clear to all my teacher friends. Let's proceed to another question, which says, what is the best tool for collecting data about the attitudes of students and teachers towards the use of e-learning? Is it a questionnaire? Is it electronic test, or is it observation? So the right answer is questionnaire, because you are going to tailor make or customize a questionnaire in which you are going to ask relevant question. So electronic test is not an option for that. Through observation, simply you cannot read their aptitude. You need to have their opinions and views. So to have their opinions and views, you are going to design a particular questionnaire in which you will ask yes or no questions, through which you are going to then take an average of all the questionnaires to see how many students are for it, how many students are against it. So through a questionnaire, a tailor-made questionnaire, or through a customized questionnaire, you can determine that how many students are willing, how many are for it, or how many are against it. Through electronic test, you cannot do that, and simple observation cannot show you that, oh, the student is for it or against it. So your right option is questionnaire, because your question asks what is the best tool for collecting data about the attitudes of students and teachers towards the use of e-learning. So you can design particular questions to ask students if they like e-learning or not, if e-learning is more appropriate than face-to-face learning, or you can customize and ask tailor-made questions and then take the average, that how many of them have voted for it, how many of them have voted against it. But through observation, simply you cannot determine this, and electronic tests cannot make you determine it. You have to have tailor-made questions, you have to have customized questions to determine their aptitudes, whether they like it or not. So this is how you understand the question and make out your options and remove the distractors. Let's move on to our next question. Which of the following practices is most likely to ensure equal opportunities for students? So look at your options. Giving students various multi-level activities and allowing them to progress according to their abilities, or standard use of classroom assessments, or giving all students the opportunity to participate in classroom activities. These are your three options, but your question is asking which of the following practices is most likely to ensure equal opportunities for students. So you have to see where do you find equal opportunities for learners. Okay, when you give students various multi-level activities and allow them to progress according to their abilities. You see here, equal opportunities is your key word. If you look at this option, standard use of classroom assessments, that means you are always using the same assessment, standardized way of assessment, which is quite lame, so you reject this. Giving all students the opportunity to participate in class activities, this is also an irrelevant example because you have different levels of students. You have below average, you have average students, and you have above average students. So if you give all the students to participate in classroom activities, the shy ones will not come out. The below average will never take the initiative to come out, although you are giving them an opportunity, but they will never come up. You have to create activity according to their level. You have to create another activity according to the average students. Similarly, you have to make another activity to for the students who are above level. So giving students various multi-level activities, because there are three levels of students in your class: below average, average, and above average. So you have to create three sorts of activities, differentiated activities. So this is your right answer, because you have students have various multi levels, and allowing them to giving students various multi levels activities and allowing them to progress according to their abilities, because a slow learner will not reach the above learner activity at once. He has to go in a sequential manner, step by step, from a simple activity to a higher level activity, then above level activity. So this is your right option. Let's see our next question, which says, which of the following teacher practices will reduce student motivation to learn? So you have to see which of your practices will reduce student motivation to learn. Let's look at your options: placing students in a heterogeneous groups during collaborative work, or failing to evaluate their prior knowledge and learning necessary for the new learning, and varying the learning activities through one class. Okay, so here you have to focus on the question, on the keyword, which of the following practice will reduce student motivation. Now you have to see, if you put students in a heterogeneous group during a collaborative work, his motivation will not be reduced. His student motivation will be increased, because there are going to be different levels of students, and the student will feel motivated to be like them, to act like them. And if you look at this option, varying the learning activities through one class. If you vary the learning activities through one class, student will be motivated, because you are motivated because you are changing activities. Student interest will be maintained throughout. So these two are the distractors. If you look at this option, failing to evaluate the prior knowledge and learning necessary for the new learning. So this will reduce student motivation definitely, because you haven't checked the level of the student. You have to elicit. You know, there is a term called eliciting. You have to elicit. For example, if there is an above learner, above average student, and you are starting, let's say I'm an English teacher, so I'll ask questions about English. So let's say I'm doing descriptive writing, and I can ask students that what are the descriptive writing techniques, and one of my students tells me that it's a technique in which you use five senses to draw a picture in the reader's mind. So I'll definitely come to know that this student knows a lot about descriptive writing, so I can give him directly a paragraph to write to evaluate that what are my students skills, so that he's good to go to write an essay. So this is how I have to evaluate the prior knowledge and elicit. Let me give you another example. Let's say I'm teaching nouns and the kinds of nouns, and I ask my student, without asking I start teaching. Maybe there are students who have already done a lot about parts of speech, and they know what nouns are, what are the kinds of nouns, what are proper nouns, what are common nouns, what are abstract nouns. So if I elicit in the beginning and I ask a lot of questions, that's going to help my students a lot. That's going to help me a lot to figure out that how many students have the prior knowledge of the concept, and they are good to go with a tailor-made activity in which I can check their usage of the concept. They can apply the knowledge directly. I don't need to spend most of my time in teaching the concept all over again, because student is already familiar with it. So if I teach a student something which he already knows, obviously his level of motivation will be down throughout, because he already knows it. So there will be lack of interest from the student's side. Guide all my teacher friends that we got a lot of questions about divergent thinking and convergent thinking. And let me clarify the definition for you once again, that divergent thinking is a thought process or method used to generate creative ideas by exploring many possible solutions. It typically occurs in a spontaneous, free-flowing, non-linear manner, such that many ideas are generated in an emergent cognitive fashion. So you see, if you know the very definition of divergent thinking, it's a thought process or method which is used to generate creative ideas by exploring many possible solutions. If you know the meaning of the word diverge only, you know that it generates many ideas, right? So here if you look at the options that ask questions that require precise, specific and clear answers, there is no divergent thinking involved in this method at all. Involves students in setting the objectives of the class. In setting the objective of the class, it has nothing to do with divergent thinking, and this is the teacher's job, and they are set according to the concept that you are going to teach. So this is totally a distracting option. If you look at this option, ask to questions that could have several correct answers. This fits the definition of divergent thinking because it's a thought process or method used to generate creative ideas by exploring many possible solutions. So many possible solutions, several correct answers. So you recall your definition while doing such questions, and it fits the definition that many possible solutions, several correct answers. So this is your right answer. So let's look at this question. One of the most important rules that must be taken into consideration in organizing the content of the curriculum is the transition from difficult to easy, easy to difficult, or composite to simple. So look at the keywords in the question that you have to figure out the most important rules that must be taken into account or consideration in organizing the content of the curriculum. Now, when you are designing the content of your curriculum for your students, so what transition you should take from? What is the rule that you should follow? Do you think when you are designing the curriculum, you tell them to learn first the difficult things, then the easy things? First, it's not possible. There are every type of learners in the class. You introduce them the easy concepts first, and then you move on to the difficult. So this is totally a distractor. You can remove this. This is a wrong option. If you look at this option, composite to simple. Composite, you should know the meaning of the word composite, which means made up of several parts of elements. Okay, so you cannot first go to a complete whole and then you break it down. This is a wrong approach. So you cannot first teach them everything. You cannot first teach them a paragraph and then tell them that, okay, these are the parts of speech in the paragraph. First, you have to tell them what are the parts of speech, and then they can write full sentences using those parts of speech. So this is a wrong option. You cannot go from top to bottom. You have to go from bottom to top. First, you have to teach them the basics, then you can give them complicated things. So this is also a wrong option. So obviously, when you are designing your curriculum, you introduce the concepts bit by bit, easy things first, then you go to the difficult concepts once again. So obviously, this is your right option. Let's look at another question. Middle school students should transition to an abstract thinking level as they progress. So this is about thinking level. However, a percentage of students are unable to understand abstract concepts or think in a systematic or scientific way. What is the ideal technique that teachers can use to support students' abstract understanding? Let's look at the options. Break down the learning content into smaller units or provide concrete and interactive experiences that help students to construct knowledge, or increase the number of classroom activities that rely on abstract concepts. So this is a very easy question according to me. You don't have to break down the learning content into smaller units. This won't help them so much because the problem will remain the same. Even if you break it down into smaller units, the problem is going to persist unless the student has practically experienced doing something in which he is having a difficulty in understanding. For example, here you can take the example of a scientific concept. Unless a student has conducted an experiment, he will not understand what is reflection, what is refraction, as much as he can understand by conducting an experiment. So breaking it down into smaller units won't help him as much as actually conducting the experiment with a hands-on activity. Similarly, if you look at this example, increase the number of classroom activities that rely on abstract concepts. For example, if I have to tell my students that, okay, this is refraction, this is reflection, so I keep on telling my students, uh, that won't help the student as much as because I'm telling the abstract concepts again and again. But if I provide my students concrete and interactive experiences that help them to construct knowledge with the help of experimentation, I take my students out in the field. I show them, okay, this is the refraction, this is the reflection. In different times of the day, I can show them different scenarios to make them understand this is reflection, this is refraction, so they would understand. Similarly, if my students are having a difficulty in maths in understanding 3D shapes, so if I actually make them construct those 3D shapes with the help of different materials, then they would definitely know. Especially the students who are having difficulty, they can touch the sides, they can feel the sides, and they would construct knowledge with hands-on activity. So this is your right answer. Let's look at your next question. In a lesson about environmental pollution, which is the best strategy a teacher could employ to help students' scientific research skills? Now here you have to single out the best strategy. And your question says scientific research skills. So ask students to write a report about environmental pollution. Ask students to conduct an investigation in order to find a solution to an environmental problem of their choice, or ask students to use the internet to do more reading about the object. Okay, so let's look at our options. And if you're already a practicing teacher, this is a piece of cake because you ask the student to write a report about environmental pollution. This is a very old traditional method. Nobody would like it. Nobody would promote it because this doesn't promote critical thinking, creative thinking, and imagination. If you look at this option, ask students to use internet. This is just copy pasting. So this is a wrong answer. We don't promote spoon feeding. If you asked a student to conduct an investigation in order to find a solution to an environmental problem of their own choice, so maybe they would choose, there is an information gap here. They are going to select first three options, then they are going to single out two, and from those two they can single out one best option, environmental problem, and then they are going to conduct the investigation. So this option involves a lot of critical thinking, creative thinking, imagination. So obviously these are the 21st century skills. So this is your right option and go for it. Let's look at the next question. In compared to 2011 cycle, the number of students who obtained a score of 474 or less in science has decreased in 2015. This is just rote learning, as I told in my very first video about pedagogy exam, that you have to rote learn everything and you have to recall the memory, you have to learn the scores of the PISA test, TEMS and TRILS test, and then answer accordingly. So this is your right option. I hope you are already done with your learning part, with your memorization part. So you recall your memory and try to single out the right option. That was all from my side to help all my teacher friends. I wish you the very best of luck and I hope you all excel and you pass in your very first attempt and you get the license. Just a humble request from my side. I'm putting in a lot of effort to help all of you. I know what a teacher goes through when she has her pedagogy exam. There's a lot of struggle involved, there's a lot of study involved. I wish you the very best of luck and just a humble request, please subscribe to my channel. I need subscribers to grow my channel. I'm new to YouTube, so I'll be very grateful if you just hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Also share it in your circle of friends who are teachers and who need help in pedagogy. And there are plenty of videos about IELTS speaking, IELTS writing, and in future obviously you all have to appear for IELTS exam as well. So these videos are definitely going to help you. Best of luck to you and see you in my next video. Write in the comments below if you need help in any other area of pedagogy exam. I'm there to help you. Thank you so much for watching the video. See you in my next video.